Hello, good evening, everybody. Our listeners, our viewers. Let me bring up my face. Hi there. Um, Tonight, we're going to talk about the structure. It's 5,000 years old, and it's been all over the news. It's all over the news. So we're excited about the news. Of course, we can't fill a whole show with news about Stonehenge. So we'll also talk a bit about what it is to be a druid in the current day and age. Modern druidry as our spiritual path. So here we go. Here we go. So, yeah, first, as you can see, I'm on my own. My dear co-host Luna has taken a break. She's on holiday, and of course she'll be back soon enough. And there'll be more Luna and the druid. But today it's Luna without the druid. No, the druid without Luna. And this week, all over the news, I read at least 3 articles about Stonehenge. Stonehenge being 5,000 years old and still headlining the news all the time. First, it was in relation to the Perseids. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, there's Stonehenge, and this is what Josh Jury photo saw. He saw the Perseid shower, which is always in August, and he saw in the distance the Milky Way. I'm quite sure he used some crazy timings, because you can't make a photo like this with just one click. So maybe he has opened the shutter for a lot of minutes, but the Perseids and the Milky Way in one photo, and Stonehenge, it's just amazing. So yeah, that's what you see. Some even mentioned seeing the aurora borealis, and I can see it in the background there as well. So there's a lot of interruptions or eruptions this week on this Wiltshire astrological monument. Another crazy thing about Stonehenge, it was under threat of not being a UNESCO heritage site any longer, because the Conservative government over years and years had plans to do up the road system around Stonehenge, and especially there dig a big miles-long tunnel, billions of euros or billions of pounds through the drain. And of course, we saw a change of administration from the Conservatives to the Labour Party came into March, and they said yes, but okay, this is not doable with the current budget. So it's too costly, and with a large hole in the country's finances, the new administration felt that they could no longer go ahead. Is it good news or bad news? I think for everyone who loves preservation, who thinks you should leave old and ancient structures intact, it's fabulous news. It's lovely news. I'm quite sure that people living in the area, suffering from the problems that the traffic congestion around Stonehenge causes, are less in favor of it. The local authorities and the local people were quite in favor of anything to make it better, but maybe digging a very big tunnel in an area that's so teemed with archaeological stuff is not the best idea. And for the time being, it seems like it's not going to go ahead. Hi, Richard. Nice to see you there. You'll be driving and listening today. That's no problem. You might not know it, but we're Our live shows are also on the podcast channel, so you can hear them back on Spotify and Apple iTunes and everywhere. Especially the ones where there's only talking heads. Sometimes you can do without our heads. But then, what's next? A very big discovery was done that in Stonehenge you have the sarsen stones that are the structure, that are the circle around Stonehenge, and the inner circle and the horseshoe thing there, and but in the middle there's a sandstone altar stone. And the news was that for years and years we have discovered that um, the big sarsen stones come from Wales, from Pembrokeshire. They're harvested there, they're dug out there, and however they brought them there 5,000 years ago, it would even be a big enterprise doing it right now. They took them from Wales uh, to to Wiltshire and to the Salisbury Plain and put up Stonehenge there. But there was also always a mystery that the altar stone was a bit different. And recently, um, uh, there was a discovery. Professor Nick Pierce from Aberystwyth and others have proved that the recumbent stone megalith of the altar stone could not have its origins in Wales, and there had been a question where it came from. And now, so the altar stone was transported to Stonehenge from northeast Scotland, probably even from Orkney, the island group that's just north of Scotland. Um, that must have been an enormous undertaking again. Brought around 225 kilometers from Minion Preseli to Stonehenge. And the distance itself would be 750 kilometers, and not even the less with assistance from beasts of burden, rivers, and topographic barriers. Uh, at the southern uplands, the Pennines Mountains, and the forested landscape, it must have been a formidable undertaking to transport the megalith overland. So, how did they do it? We don't know. We really have no idea how they did it. But the connection with Orkney is very interesting because the Ring of Brodgar and other things in Orkney um, are date from the same age. Date from the same age. A lot of archaeologically interesting stuff there on Orkney dates from the same age. So having a connection between Stonehenge and the Ring of Brodgar, or the site up there, I forgot the name, but maybe I'll come to it. Let me check. Well, wherever. um, they brought it. They brought it from Scotland to Stonehenge, and lots of people had their say on it. Especially Jonathan Woolley, another well-known druid, says modern druids treasure the interconnectedness of things holy and ordinary, past and present, humankind with the rest of nature. Stonehenge and the festivals celebrated there have long been felt to be a physical manifestation of that principle. The henge is the hub of the wheel that spins the diverse fibers of experience into the skeins of fate across the island of Britain. It's deeply inspiring that cutting edge archaeology has shown that the ancient builders of Stonehenge were also using the site to make connections among great distances, further indicated the sophistication and eminence of the Orcadian on the Orkney's ritual center at the Ness of Brodgar. So there you have it. There we have it. Stonehenge, Brodgar, all connected from pre-Christian times, and even though there had been a lot of times said that Stonehenge and Brodgar were built by druids. Uh, at best, they were built by proto druids because we think the druids would have not emerged about earlier than 1200 before the current era. So that's about 3300 years ago when Druidry came. So there we have our bridge. Druidry. So where does it come from? Yeah, it's a follow up, like I said, of proto druids, shamans, spiritual leaders in early societies, the spiritual role or the priest role or the advisor role or the one who connects earth to the realm of spirit um, was filled was done by shamans, and they communicated with the spirit world on behalf of their tribe. So they would enter trance states to perform rituals, heal the sick, divine the future, and of course ensure the well-being of the tribe. They often acted as intermediates between the human world and the world of spirits, animals, and ancestors. A good reason to watch one of our previous episodes about the spirit animal world. Um, so that's the shamans and the spiritual leaders. In smaller tribes, it's already known that druids in smaller tribes were sometimes the leaders. So it could also be the other way around, that druids were leaders of tribes, but also the tribes with the not so big tribes, that their leaders were also their druids and performed their ritual ceremonies, religious ceremonies, and they would have been seen as having this special connection to the divine or the ancestors even, and their authority often derived from these spiritual powers. Um, Taking it a step further, we have the sacred kingship, so cultures where the king and the land are one. That's something we even see late in the Druid time when the quest of the Holy Grail comes along, and Percival finds out, the knight who finds the Holy Grail, that the Holy Grail is connected to the king, and the king and the land are one. And if the king suffers, the land suffers. So sacred kingship would definitely be a thing that could have existed before Druidry. Um, so the medicine women, priesthoods, ancestor worshippers, all these types eventually um, transferred with the coming of new people in the British Isles, in Ireland, Brittany, England, Scotland, Wales, and Cornwall. When the Celtic tribes settled there we have the real emergence of what we call the modern the ancient druids. The ancient druids, they have been in charge, or they've been working for about 1500 years. 1200 BC, then we have, of course, we have the coming of the Romans. The Isles, especially Great Britain and Brittany, became part of the Roman Empire, and from the first century on, we have the Druid massacre in Anglesey in Wales. That's around 65 current era. We see that that the Druids slowly but surely lost traction in the world. What was the reason for it? Well, actually, that was the coming of Christianity, because Christianity took over, and Druids were seen as parts of the old religion that had to go. So they killed the Druids, and especially is something that we think in Ireland has taken place, that the Druids were slowly assimilated into the Catholic religion, in the Christian religion, and became the first monks, maybe even the monks on what we know as as Skellig Michael, the heritage island that's in the Atlantic of the coast here of Kerry, where this in the 6th century the monks had a very important and still well preserved settlement, and you can go there. It's a lovely place to be. It's a lovely place to go. So Druidry ended deep into the time of Christianity and stayed asleep for maybe 1,000 years. Of course, we had our medicine women. We might have had witches. We might have had astrologers. We had people that would probably not necessarily be too Catholic, but it's too much to call them druids. And then in the 18th century, there was the start of the Druid Renaissance. A new Druidry was born. These people had no records and no history and no archaeology that we have. So they, for a part, they went back to what they could find of the Romans, what the Romans have written, Julius Caesar, Strabo, some historians from the Roman age. They documented the people they conquered very well. So there was a bit known. But the modern Druidry more or less emerged from more Freemasonry, Masonic organizations who said, okay, we're going to call our group Druids now, and we're going to tap into this ancient knowledge to see if we can revive it. The books from that day and age, do I have one here? Not really. They're in my other book. Yes. The books from the day and age are, as we know now, very made up. The Bardas is a very well-known one, and of course it's still a source for modern Druidry. The White Goddess from Robert Graves is a very important book for modern Druidry. And especially in the 20th century, we saw the split that we had the Renaissance Druidry, which evolved into modern day Druidry as it is practiced in the Order of Bards, Ovids and Druids, an organization where I'm a member of. So that's what we call modern Druidry. And the other direction was to go for pure Druidry. And that's reenacting, rediscovering, and really going deep into the old knowledge. The modern Druids use the old knowledge, but incorporate it more in their current life. And there you have the divide, where you have people who say, okay, we live as modern people, but we're investigating or going deep into the relationship with ancient gods and goddesses, with ancient beliefs, with ancient habits, and we work with that, and we call ourselves pure Druids. So that's not what I call myself, a pure Druid. We up here, my wife and I, were together. We're both Druids, and we call ourselves modern Druids. And that means that we live Druidry as relevant in the modern day and age. We want to be part of current society, one leg in society, one leg maybe a bit more out of society. And to show how we do it is, if you look at the place where I live, in the middle, slightly left of the middle, you see a yellow house, and that's where modern Druids live. So it's a modern house. There's Wi-Fi, there's electricity, there's solar panels. We're partly self-sufficient. We're self-sufficient for our water because we drink water from a holy well. We have our own food. We have a polytunnel. We have a vegetable plot. We have all kinds of stuff there. And this is an ancient part of Ireland. This is an ancient land, because in the back, you can see probably the highest peak in the back there is part of the Paps of Anu. And the Paps of Anu are two uh, equally shaped mountains. They're actually in the back of my house. There's no there's it's a 40-minute walk up to there, but it's still in my backyard because there's no other people living there. These two mountains were by the original people of Ireland, the Tuatha De Danann, seen as the breasts of their goddess. And some of these tribes were said to have landed in the south of Ireland, the southwest of Ireland, in the Bantry area, and investigating the surroundings where they could settle. They thought, okay, this is a good place because we have uh, the breasts of our own goddess, Anu or Danu. She's a very well-known Celtic and European goddess. We have rivers. The Danube is called after her. Denmark is called after her. And we have this in County Kerry and in the Killarney area. So that's where we live as modern Druids. Like I said, we live a bit remote, but still one leg in society. And how do we express that? We show up. We show up at weddings when a couple uh, uh, marries legally, but doesn't want to marry in church, but still want to express their vows, want a spiritual wedding or whatever. We as Druids, we can perform it, and we perform then the old rite of the hand fasting. What we also do, we open up festivals with fires. In next Samhain, 31st of October, we will be in the town of Killorglin, also in southwest Ireland, and we will do a ceremony, a fire ceremony there to transform the what needs to be transformed from the people in the town in a ritual way to the Cailleach and to the spirits of Samhain. Does that bring you fame? Well, sometimes it does. We have the Irish Times there from the 23rd of December 2019, and I was part of a charity walk, and on top of of course it was towards the Paps of Anu, and on top of the Paps of Anu I performed also a small ceremony, and that ended me, and I ended up on the front page of Monday's Irish Times there. Winter solstice marked in the kingdom. Jan Tetero, a druid from nearby Anamore, calls ancient ancestors with his shaman drum on the Paps of Anu. Well, ain't that fabulous? Ain't that fabulous? What more do we do? Yeah, sometimes we show up at festivals. I'm here in a procession many years ago. As you can see, it was quite of a big event in the Netherlands where we did a similar thing. We brought offerings from normal people in a ceremonial procession to a burning ceremony, which was lovely. So that's Druid life, public life. Of course, we have our private lives. And why are we Druids? What makes us Druids? What's so interesting there? For us, it is the connection to nature. Druids, most Druids see themselves as earth keepers, guardians of nature. Most of us are animistic, so we don't necessarily believe in gods. We can believe in gods, whatever we like. We can believe in the Christian God, in Viking gods, in the Celtic gods, or we can be agnostic, or we can be atheistic. We can be Buddhist Druids. Religion is there's an overlap between Druidry and religion, but Druidry itself doesn't say that it is a religion. It's a spiritual and path. It's a way of life, and the way of life is close to nature, connecting to nature, being kind to the environment, being aware of what surrounds you. What do we have there? And we see the sacred in the water that flows through our valley from the Peps to the river Flesk. We see the divine in the rock formations in our backyard. We see the divine in the stone circles built by people before us. And so we venerate nature. We love trees. The druid, one of the translations of druid is oak man. Dru, drie. Dru is an oak man, but the Irish translation of druid is dree, and dree is actually dree is a magician. Dree is the word dree means magic, so it's a magic oak man. I love all the explanations, and although we're not really sure which one is the correct one, I go for all of them. I'm totally fine there. Let's see what we have in the chat. I haven't looked for a while. Hello, beautiful people. Iron Fire Horse and Luna, sending love to you all. Hello, Luna. And Jan, did you experience a calling to become a druid, or perhaps an epiphany of some sort? That's what Richard asks. And I'd also be interested in hearing your view on the good and evil dichotomy. Okay, the calling of the druids. Yes, there was maybe not a calling in a traditional way, but there was it was like a remembering or a rediscovering. In the 1980s, I think it was 83, I was handed by a friend the first edition of The Mists of Avalon by Marion Bradley, a book that's not totally without controversy, but at the time it was not. It was very interesting. It told the Arthurian legends from a female perspective, so from the perspective of the women that were so important in the legends, the good ones and the other ones. And it was an interesting book, and the story plays out in the time of transformation between paganism and Christianity, and of course Merlin, the magician in Arthurian court, was in the book, and he was a druid, and he connected with other druids, and he connected with the priestesses of Avalon, who were working together with the druids, as I already said, as the people in society that would give advice, that would be the healers, and the ones that would speak justice and everything. So that structure was still there, but it was going away, and so it was an interesting read. And I read it, and I read about the druids, and I thought, yeah, this speaks to me. Let's see if there's still something there. And after some research, I could find the Order of Bards, Ovids, and Druids. I found out they did a correspondence course at the time. It's still available, actually, the Bardic, the Ovid, and the Druid Great correspondence course. And I jumped into it right away. It was so interesting, and all of a sudden, yes, all these topics and all these ideas that are given there were there for me to find out they exist, and to deepen. The druid course of the Obot doesn't necessarily make you a full druid, but it gives you topics of study, topics of interest, where you can work with. And so sometimes you throw your druidic course aside for a year and dive deep into the law of attraction, or in divination with tarot cards, ohm stones, or rune stones, or you go into meditation like light body meditations, Buddhist meditations, looking for the connection between this realm and the spiritual realm. Especially in the beginning, you're motivated to start storytelling, writing stories, poetry, all these things you get to learn there. And so it to get to the end of the druid course took me about 30 years. And that's exactly the time that was said that the old druids had to study before they became a druid. So 30 years, maybe it sounds like a long time, but it wasn't too bad at all. It wasn't too bad. Then Richard, hearing your view on the good and evil dichotomy. You're probably referring to as, and tell me if it's not, but you're probably referring to human sacrifice. Um, we don't know. We don't know. At the moment, we say druids. Um, big part of the druid education is ethical living, living ethically, not only with nature but also with your surroundings, living ethically towards the people you encounter, being honest, being straightforward. Um, so uh, there might be some questionable practices that were good 2000 years ago that are not good at this moment. So I think we leave them there. We're not practicing them anymore. That's why I love to say I'm a modern druid. I'm with one leg is in the modern world. I'm part of society. I pay my taxes. I, I do everything a good citizen does. On the other hand, uh, I'm very much aware that I'm also with one leg out of society where I live my own life and take care of my own needs for as much as I can. And that also has to do with the view of society, with the view of politics and the view of um, the world. Um, so, yeah, that idea. Okay, Richard. Yes, thanks. But I'd also like to hear your view as a druid of whether there is a good and an evil and what they are to you. There's a good and an evil. Difficult question to, or a very good question, but a difficult question to have a straight answer. Because in the greater scheme of things, um, my belief is that all, or at least most people, are good. That doesn't say that all people do good. I know there's good people that, for whatever reason, sometimes out of need, sometimes out of being drawn into something or whatever, good people do horrible things, do bad things. Good people impose their will upon others, and if other people don't listen, they get to war. That's how even countries go to war. That's because of what they believe. Um, So, good and evil, most people are good, willing to do good, do bad things. Um, Dark and light is maybe a better word, and but that's also true that without dark, light has no function, and light is only there to contrast the dark. So they're equally necessary, and we all have our what we know are shadows, the parts of ourself that are hidden because we are, um, yeah, we're not openly giving out, or we're not openly sharing them with the world. They're our own shadows, our own dark sides, and we all have them. Like the moon has a dark side, we all have our shards of darkness in ourselves too, and we can shine our light on them and judge them through our ethics, through our feelings, through our motivations. So, uh, in general, I see them as supportive or are working together. Um, do I see myself as a force for the light, or is it not what druidry is about? Druidism is about. Uh, a druid can be a force a force of the light. A druid can be a light keeper. A druid can be a Jedi Knight, where we fight the dark side. For myself, it's not something. I don't consider myself a light worker. I work with the light, but I also work with the darkness. I also embrace the darkness at times, because in the darkness we can experience different things, and that's why. Luna and the Druid is so important. We have the lunar cycles. We have the time that the moon is dark, and from the darkness new things can arise. And when the moon is full, we say, okay, maybe now it's time to let some of this light go, and then the moon becomes dark again. So it's Druidism in itself. Um, we call it dogma free. There's only one dogma, that there is no dogma. So believe what you want to believe, study from I think it's around 200 topics that were offered in my Druid education. So 300 topics that I know of, they exist. Only about 10 or 15 in over the years. I've studied more in depth than just what was presented there. So I know about light workers, I know about uh, other things. I know a bit about myths and legends. I know about how to explain legends, but it's all very, very personal. And you're welcome, Richard. I hope I answered your question accordingly. So, what's the essence of Druid life? And one of the things that are really speaking to me and speaking to us and speaking as ourselves as grove leaders. So when you evolve as a druid, so you some are called to start a druid organization. Well, what is a druid organization then? You have various levels. You have seed groups that are small groups studying druids, and when you go further, you become a druid. You can uh, you can organize yourself in a druid grove. It takes two druids to do it. I'm married to one, so that's quite easy. And from there, um, our anchor is not the moon. No, the anchor of the druids is the sun, the solar year. So we end the year, as you see on top of the image I posted. We end the year at Samhain. That's when everything dies. That's when uh, the fields turn dark, when the nights are getting longer and longer, the days are getting shorter. Um, some believe that Odin, the Viking god, goes on a wild hunt to catch the wolf that eats the daylight, and he catches them in the next quadrant. Um, that's on the top right, and that's the midwinter. Midwinter is when the wolf that eats the daylight, the wolf's called Fenrir, is caught by Odin and his tribe in the wild hunt, and they chain him, and from there on, the sun can heal. We as Druids celebrate um, the victory of the oak over the holly being the evergreen, but uh, the holly wins in summer and the oak deteriorates, leaving him without leaf, leaving the branches bare. And in midwinter, at the winter solstice, the oak wins again, and summer starts. And spring starts at Imbolc, 1st of February. Um, very big feast festival, followed by the spring equinox, 21st of March, and at the low tide, we see exactly opposite Samhain, and it's also exactly 6 months later, we have La Bieltena, or Beltane as it is called in English, but here in Ireland we say La Bieltena. Fertility festivals, fertility rites. We have an episode on Bieltena, so you can look back on it. It was done in May, so look in the lives of Luna and the Druid or in the podcast to the May episode about La Bieltena. You'll find it very interesting. From Bieltena, we come into midsummer, to the summer solstice, and then we, of course, then we're connected again to Stonehenge, because Stonehenge is the time when the sun comes up and shines when it comes through an archway on the altar stone at sunrise. So summer solstice is very important, and that's also why Stonehenge is very important in the Druid tradition, because of the connection to the summer solstice. Then we come in the time where we are now, Lunasa, the first harvest, celebrated around the 1st of August. In Ireland, we have a name for the month of August, and the name of the month of August is Lunasa. So we live in Lunasa, and we're moving towards the autumn equinox, resulting later then in Samhain again. So we're now on our way to darker periods of the year. So as Druids, we follow the year. We celebrate all 8 festivals in smaller or bigger ways. Sometimes we do it with large groups. Um, Sometimes we do it just for ourselves, or we do it in online meetings. In the more recent years, there's various ways for us to celebrate the wheel of the year and the progress it makes, and we see the wheel of the year as more or less a blueprint for the wheel of life. We are born at Samhain or midwinter. We grow up in spring. Become we we we, we become young adults and parents in summer, and we go older. We come to the third life phase uh, in autumn, and in winter we have the fourth life phase when we die and get reborn again. And so the wheel of the year is not only a wheel of the year; it's like we can use it as the wheel of the day, the wheel of the seasons, the wheel of the moons, uh, but also the wheel of life. Let's see if there's some more questions in the chat. Oh, that was it. Okay, perfect, perfect. Um, so modern druidry, is it relevant in the current day and age? If you go into it can be, and you don't have to believe anything. You don't have to do anything special, but um, it's a path of self development where you grow as a person, where you gain an understanding how the world works as a whole, how nature works, how we are connected to nature. Of course, we see the other things. We see the other side as well, that politics and religion and global politics are not always um, in line with what we think is right. And I had an interesting conversation yesterday, and we came to the conclusion uh, that there is no conspiracy. Nobody is driving the bus. It's all of us together that create the earth, and so that's also a thing for the druids to acknowledge, that we are not responsible for the whole workings of the earth. We're responsible for the part that we can manage, that we can work with. And how does things like Illuminati and left and right and um, religious factions, how do they work together? I always say everything is a conspiracy. Even even someone uh, opening a shop, uh, small, or a small business, it's a conspiracy, because why are they doing it? They're doing it to make money, to bring money in. But it's why do we make the money? To survive. And from survival comes the idea of maybe we should grow, we should go bigger, hire staff, and all of a sudden my mini organization becomes a company, a corporation, and it grows and grows, and suddenly we're Google or or Amazon or whatever. And maybe when I'm the boss of Google or Amazon, I'm getting invited in the Illuminati or the Bilderberg Group, or I become the president of the United States, and I'm powerful and mighty. I can rule the world. Yeah, no, it's not like that. The president of the United States doesn't rule the world. He has he's one of the powers, but like the billions of us uh, that are all pulling the strings to create our society, it's also the few powers. There may be less powers. It's an oligarchy. But there's still powers with different agendas, with different rules. We have China, Russia, America, and Europe. They're all pulling their own strings, and they're all pulling their own ideas, and they're all manifesting their own agendas. And where does the world go? Yeah, the one that pulls the hardest, that's where the world goes, and then the other forces pull back again, and it goes. And so that's why we go from left to right, from ultra left to ultra right. Why the economy is going in ups and downs? It's all because of push and pull, and yeah. I came to the conclusion that if the society is a bus, it's a bus without a driver. The people in the bus that are driving it, all of them have their influence. So that gives you a bit of an idea of what I, as a druid, what we as druids do in life. I hope that's helpful. That's something you can relate to. And if you're more interested, just drop me a line or visit my druid website. I can maybe type it somewhere. That's the ticker here. This is my druid grove of anu.com. Whoops. Again, grove.com. There it is. Add and show. groveofanu.com. If you want to know more about druidry, modern druidry, we even have 2 courses. We have a course related to the Wheel of the Year, so where you work with all the festivals that's there, and the course is free, so no reason not to take it. And we have an advanced druidic course for a small monthly fee, which you can follow as well. And hope you like that. So, when this topic is over, can I use this one? Not really. This is a deck that isn't shuffled. It's still in original state. We have more here. Let me take this one. Yeah. Oh, no, not this one. This one. Let's pull a few cards for the situation in the earth, in the world. What's helpful for druids, and then so what's the state of druidry at the moment? What's it about? What's the work? And then we give something that's beneficial. So something you can do to improve your spiritual path, to improve your druidic path, and something you better avoid. So I'll pick them blindly. So the heart card, the heart of the matter, Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords. Interesting card. What does the Queen of Swords tell me? Well, as you can see, she cut off the head of the liar. So it's all about righteousness, being true to yourself, being true, being honest. It's not about believing, but it's about taking a high vantage point and try to see the situation from above. Try to rise above the situation and don't get stuck in the drama, because she ruthlessly cuts off the drama. So there you have it. Cutting off the drama and just go for honesty, reality, and Richard especially, go for the good. Go for the good. Let's pick another one. Oh, one jumps out. Do. The Lemniscate. The card says, I'm the Lord of Change. And very empty, Richard. what I sometimes always see in the card, because it's called change, and it's perpetual change. So it's the eight on its side. It changes all the time, and we can see our whole selves going from the darkness into light. So, Richard, when you say, how about the evil in people, about the darkness in people, it's part of it. We go from darkness into light, or from light into darkness again. Perpetual change. Embrace the change. Grow. Go with the seasons. Go with the flow. Uh, so, being true to yourself, and don't be afraid of change. So, now a more an advice of something uh, to avoid. What shall we avoid? What shall we avoid? Valor. It's a seven. Uh, Sevens are in general um, cards with a lot of challenges. They're challenging cards. Seven of Swords is challenging. The dishonesty. The Seven of Cups is challenging. Being spoiled for choices. The Seven of Discs is challenging growth. Here the challenge is um, to be receptive, because the card itself says be active, fight, uh, fight, struggle, fend off your defenders. Uh, but in this position that we chose for this card, we say be transparent. Let it go. Let it be. Let other people find their own path. Be transparent. Don't don't go for don't go for the struggle. Don't go for the fight. You're already a winner. You have won already. That's the Six of Wands. You have already won. There's no need to fight anymore. You're a winner in yourself, and uh, this more or less envisions the thing that I said. Nobody's driving the bus, so don't be the bus. Don't step on the driver's seat of this bus. Just go with the flow. Be strong. Be honest to yourself. Accept the changes that are there, because changes are like the things that are staying. They're not permanent. They're going different ways. So be easy. No Mars, no Leo. Cut the crap. Stop fighting. Stop fighting, and let go what no longer serves you. Wow, that was lovely. Uh, for the first time, a show without my dear co-host. Well, Luna, you're still missed, but I think we pulled it through nicely, and I'm looking forward to having you back again soon. I think maybe next week you'll be gone also. I know you have obligations somewhere, so next week you'll have to do with me again, dear viewers and listeners, and from then on, Luna will be back. Let's see if there's a last remark. Total dark, positive, masculine, feminine. Perfect card. Very nice session. Okay, thanks, Richard. Thanks for all for the interaction. It was really lovely to have you on the show, and to talk to you. And well, maybe we'll have an opportunity to talk again later. So I'm closing down. I'll see all of you back in a week's time. Monday, 8 o'clock Irish time, Central, and looking forward to that. Bye, everybody. Goodbye.